Everybody, my name is Ali. I'm a grateful alcoholic. Is this height good for the microphone? We're good? Yeah. All right. Man, I'm nervous. I'll share something with you that probably make me less nervous if I share it with you. What happens to me when I get really nervous is I start to dry heave in the bathroom, and that's what happens. In the morning, it was a rough time in the hotel room. Let me tell you, I was praying a lot, and my wife started to notice me doing this when during the pandemic online era. So I'm in the bathroom dry heaving right before a talk online. So what she started to do is she found like little memes or videos of cats coughing up fur balls. So I started doing this. She's sending me memes on the phone, and she's like, and then she's playing the video. She's calling my oldest son, there he is, come, Daddy's doing the cats, come, look at him. So nothing like having a wife like that to just make you right size there. I was telling Butch this story this morning. All right, so first, we did thank the committee, but I want to personally thank Tony. Thank you very much, brother, for your gracious invitation, for all the service that you do, and for Miss Juanita and Woody. I don't know about you all, I just want to hear Juanita speak. When she's on a roll, she's on a roll, like the Spirit speaks through her. I was like, yeah, keep going. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you so much for your kindness. I appreciate that. And the entire committee. I appreciate you guys, as was you already thanked, but I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, because I know, we do something on a much smaller scale in Toronto, right? But I know what it takes to put one of these things on all the volunteers and all the committee members. Because of you, we get to come over here and celebrate the power of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because of people like you, we got to come over here and celebrate the 90th year of the birth of this beautiful program. We get to, right? We get to celebrate the power of goodness that all of us, in our own ways, have tapped into. Power of goodness that's literally taken each of us in our own ways and taken me from a broken, ugly soul, from a scrappy life, terror, bewilderment, despair, whatever the other one is. There's 4 of them. From the scrappy life and dropped me in the most beautiful life here today. So thank you for that. Can we give the committee another big round of applause? Thank you, Ray and Nicolette, for hosting me and my sponsor, Butch. I appreciate you, Ray. Ray's back apparently 2.5 years with us. And let me tell you something, brother, just between you and me and 2,000 or 3,000 of our closest friends, I watch. I'm an observer. And I listen carefully. And what has happened to you is nothing but short of a miracle, brother. Because a lot of people get on fire early in recovery, like I was too. But what has happened to you is that you seem to be on fire with a level of humility that inspires. Just talking to you and being with you, and just how humble you've been and how ready you've been to help me and Butch and get us whatever we need. It's just a conversation. What it reminded me of is this couple of lines of my favorite poet, Rumi. What he says is that what did he say? Travel on the lover's path. When he says lover's path, he's talking about God, Travel on the lover's path with humility and truth. Those 2 things will take your hands to unite next to God. So I pray that you and me both, Ray, we keep doing what we've been doing. And God keeps us helping us meet on this path of lover's path, man. So we can charge the road to happy destiny. I want to make sure to acknowledge you then, brother. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for everything, man. Yeah. I want to thank the long-timers, the old-timers. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for showing me that we don't shoot the wounded here in Alcoholics Anonymous. Because I was wounded, man. Thank you for showing me what it means to live these steps, to walk this path in these 12 steps, long before I knew what the big book was. With your smiling faces at the entrance of these church basement rooms, always shaking my hand, always kind to me. Come on in, Ali, it's okay, come on in, welcome back. Grab a cup of coffee, it's okay, you're going to be okay. Thank you for driving me from detox to detox to detox to meeting to meeting to meeting, and talking to me about the power of Alcoholics Anonymous, talking to me about the power of this loving God that you've tapped into. Thank you for buying me groceries when I had no food in my fridge and I was crying. I didn't know why I keep on drinking and just destroying my life over and over and over. Thank you for that. I watch you. Thank you for practicing principles in your affairs. I'm just the baby of the bunch here. I know that. But I also know that I stand on the shoulders of giants. I know that too. You know what I mean? Thank you. I love the old timers, man. Love the long timers. Don't worry, we're going to get going soon, okay? God's going to show up. Trust me, He does every time. What an honor it's been to be here at the 90th year. My first time at the conference. A couple of years ago, my sponsor Butch and I came off-season to do the things that we do. You know, Dr. Bob's grave and everything. First time at the conference. And one of the highlights was driving with my sponsor Butch. I love that man. See, Butch introduced me to a love story of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was in and out for 7 years in the program, and finally somebody opened the big book with me, and I caught on fire, and I was transformed. But when I met Butch, he introduced me to the love story of Alcoholics Anonymous. He brought me all the way in and sat me all the way down. And he showed me what it is to carry a big book and walk softly. He showed me how the importance of kindness. I think some of the most, maybe the most manifestation of a spiritual life well lived is kindness. How the smallest act of kindness can just change the trajectory of somebody's life. You know? I'll never forget. See, we younger guys, I'm 49, but younger in sobriety. We younger guys, we watch you, man. It's not just the words you say, we watch. I watched them as my wife and I were having problems in sobriety and recovery a few years back, and we got separated. We were about to get separated. We're back together now, but I remember at the... Afsi, that was for you, baby, when you're going to listen on the recording. Not for me. I remember I was at the coffee shop when I held his hands. When I held your hands, Butch. Remember, and I was telling you, Butch, I think Afsi and I are going to get separated. You know what he did? He didn't judge me. He didn't tell me to write an inventory. I'm an inventory guy, but I'm saying what he did was he shared his experience with me, similar situations, and I saw his eyes water, and he held my hands, and he said to me, Ali, don't you worry. We're going to get through this thing together. We're going to get through this thing together. Love story. Because of that, I get to be in love with my wife. Because of that, and many examples like that, I get to be in love with my sons. I love you, Butch. Bob is smiling down at us, isn't he? With Dr. Bob. Bob Dawson was his sponsor. With Dr. Bob and Bill, they're smiling down at us. I just know it. I just know it. And this love story was started 90 years ago. When a stockbroker who managed to stay sober for 6 months, frustrated that he can't keep anyone sober, ended up in Akron, Ohio, in a Mayflower hotel. He had a business deal that fell through, went down to the dumps. He didn't have enough money to pay for his hotel room, pacing back and forth in the lobby of that hotel. And a drink called him. And all of a sudden, the Spirit turned his gaze to the phone directory. A few phone calls later, he meets Dr. Bob. What was supposed to be a 15-minute conversation ended up being hours. It was as if God just picked two of his broken souls. Broken toys we are in Alcoholics Anonymous, eh? He picked two of his broken souls and just dropped them like pebbles in a pond, and one conversation. The language love started and waves started. Through space-time, 90 years later, all of us are riding the waves of the language of love today, aren't we here? That's a celebration. That's a celebration right here, right now. This is a big deal right here, right now. It's a big deal, man. That's a big deal right here, right now. I was separated from alcohol on January the 4th of 2012. I haven't left you guys. I haven't left you guys. I've been in the middle of a circle and triangle. I've been living a juicy life. Woo, it's juicy. I've been living a life filled with a sense of meaning and purpose. That's a juicy life. Meaning and purpose. No one can adhere anything, maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. No one. So I have fumbled and stumbled. And I've scraped my knee. And I've looked ugly. Thank you for telling me that I'm not here to teach anybody anything. Thank you for showing me time and time again that all I'm going to do is disrobe in front of you and let you see the gash in the arm and the wounds in the psyche, because that's where God shines through anyways. So although I've been living a juicy life, haven't had a drink in 13 years, over 13 years, I'm in the middle of the circle and triangle, my sobriety is coming up to 9 years. Because in September of 2016, my wife went for some minor surgery after she's almost 15 years now. My minor surgery, and the doctor gave her Percocets to come home with. Right? And I found myself taking a couple. And friends that knew me, because when I woke up, when I caught on fire, I've just been blessed to be active. So friends that knew me, they would question me and they would say, Ali, in a very kind way, but like I understand what they would ask me. You must not have been spiritually fit. What happened? My answer to them is always, after some contemplation, whether I was spiritually fit or not, and what happened with those 2 pills is beyond my spiritual pay grade. But what I can tell you is this. For about a year before that, I was coming up to 5 years. For about a year before that, I stopped sharing myself honestly with you guys. I stopped sharing with you that sometimes I'm sponsoring people. I'm sometimes in a fetal position at home because I can't find a job and I feel like a loser, like I'm not a real dad. I'm depressed. I stopped sharing like that. I stopped sharing that with you guys because this disease of alcoholism lulled me into a sleep that somehow this program is about looking good and sounding good. It's about number of sponsors and speaking engagements. So I was ashamed, and I stopped sharing myself honestly with you guys. And the disease of alcoholism, DIS-ease, the internal disease of alcoholism, waits patiently. And it sat on my shoulders. And it said, you're a drinker. You don't have a problem with pills? Take a couple. So I took a couple, and thank God for good sponsorship. The next morning, I let my sponsor know I renewed my dry date. And I can tell you from that day to this, in the last little over 8 years, is as if like the Spirit has invited me to a deeper walk of more humility and more kindness and more open-mindedness. You know? And I just want to share that. Sometimes it comes out. I want to share it because I know sometimes there's brothers and sisters that have that experience, and maybe my experience can help them, you know. Maybe my experience can help them. I landed here broken in every way you could imagine. Suicidal, couldn't put 2 days together. Sober, I couldn't put 2 days together at the end. The last couple of years. Ugly on the outside and inside. I always thought I was ugly. Unemployed, unemployable. Unloved and unlovable. That's how I landed at your doorsteps. Like I can tell you, you know, third dimension stuff. In the third dimension, who's 12-step me, which meeting I went to, but I think that stuff is just blah, 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 okay. Because in the realm of the Spirit, everything's uncommon sense. The only thing that makes sense to me, the best way to describe it is when I look back with a little bit more clear spiritual eyes, I think today, when I look back is that what at first seemed like a flimsy reed was a powerful hand of this loving God that just grabbed me, caressed me, and brought me to rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Introduced me to you beautiful people, to you long-timers. And you guys told me, Ali, if you situate yourself in the middle of the circle and triangle to the best of your ability, not perfection, to the best of your ability, you will tap into a power that is going to revolutionize your way of being and thinking. I have tapped into a power. And I'm here to tell you about that power. I'm sober because of a loving God. I'm sober because of a forgiving God. And if the word God bothers you, if the word God arises antipathy in you, I want to tell you that I'm not here to disturb you. Me too. I was there as well. Born in a country that a religious government took over a few decades ago when they got into power, like all different religions and all different governments, they did their own version of it. They got in power and they start to kill in the name of God. Imprison people in the name of God. Torture some of my extended family members in the name of God. So that's the kind of God I brought in these rooms for you guys to deal with. And the old-timers that have no access to grind and they don't shoot the wounded, they wouldn't argue with my arguments. They would just ask me to come and sit down and have a seat and grab a cup of coffee. They would ask me, why don't you come up with your own conception of God, Ali? If it's like a soul of a loved one that's passed on, that's near and dear to your heart, energy of the universe, the group of this beautiful group of drunks, G-O-D, a power greater than you. So if you're in that place, I'm going to ask you for the remainder of this few minutes that we have together, come up with your own conception of God. Come up with your own conception of God. I was born in a family in 1976. I was born in Tehran, Iran. I was born to a family that lived at extremes. One extreme was love and joy and happiness and extended family members. I had a good childhood too. The other extreme was hitting and violence and fear and bleeding and just terror. My father's addiction resided in that extreme. I was always afraid as a kid. This language that you taught me, I didn't know. I just remember that I was just restless, irritable, and discontent. The feelings. I didn't know that what I was doing, even as a little guy, is using things outside of me to make me feel okay inside. Whether it was approval of kids in the neighborhood or love of parents, love of extended family members. When I got older, when I was able to get a job, put some money in my pocket, relationship here and there, accolades. But none of those shiny toys, including your acknowledgement, is a shiny toy sometimes. I gotta be careful. None of those filled that God-sized hole. Kept on chasing it. In 1986, Iran and Iraq were fighting at that time. And Saddam Hussein dropped the first set of bombings he dropped in Tehran. He dropped within a kilometer radius of our house. I remember the entire housing complex would shake. Like when a bomb is dropped a kilometer away, it feels like an earthquake. Windows would break. My sister and I were too young and too naive maybe to understand the gravity of the situation, like you may die, you know. But my parents, my dad was in his opium dreams. He was as cool as a cucumber. He didn't care. But my mom was scared. She was really scared. She ended up in a mental hospital for a little bit, and my dad said, forget about this, locked up the house and gathered all the money that he could, and we came to the beautiful country of Canada within 4 months of deciding. I'm a Canadian, Toronto, Canada for like almost 40 years now. I think that doesn't really matter. I'm a member of the human race. I think that's more important. Yeah. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's most important. That's most important. You know, within 4 months of deciding, came to a country filled with freedom of speech and freedom and opportunity and love and, you know, freedom of religion. And you would think that someone like me, coming from a place like that, I would be okay, jumping for joy. But that wasn't the case. Because my father's addiction followed here, the beatings followed us here, but now there's no extended family buffer between us. It's just us. It's just us in a new land, you know. More important to who I am, how I understand it to be, my little 10-year-old brain filled with the isms of alcoholism, not an alcoholic yet, filled with the isms of it followed me here. And my little brain continued to cherry pick evidence in my life why I'm not enough, why you're not okay. The kids, you're a different color than the kids. I was even darker when I was younger. You're a different color than the kids in the neighborhood. They make fun of you. They beat you up. You're not good enough. You're never going to be good enough. You don't speak a word of English. You're not good enough. Your dad beat you. You're not good enough. Those 2 kids molested you at the age of 7. You're not good enough. You're never going to be good enough. Never going to be good enough. Always wanting me to look at the outside for what's wrong with me on the inside. Never wants me to look at me. I always have to point to the outside. And I used to point to those things on the outside that happened to me, that I experienced later on when I became an active alcoholic. I used to point to those things. I don't do that anymore. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I just don't do that anymore. I'd rather be free. I'd rather be free. See, because what happened was that when I woke up spiritually in the program a little bit later, I saw my little sister, my younger sister was 5 years younger than me. She went through the same trauma in life. I hope not everything, but pretty much. Same trauma in life as I did. Not an alcoholic. Not an addict of anything. She had an alcohol problem. You know what happened when it got really bad? You won't believe it. She put it down and she walked away. Just like that. Yeah. I know. Like, she had, like, she was wounded. I mean, you know, so she had to get some help from therapists, and of course. But she was able to stop or moderate. And then I would meet some of you beautiful people in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. You would sit me down and you say, Ali, that's interesting. I get it, man. I feel for you, all those things that happened to you. But check this out, man. I had to leave it to Beaver life. Perfect parents and rich parents and ski trips, and nobody beat anybody. That was a surprise to me. People are not supposed to hit each other at home. I didn't know that. Vacations and lots of money, and yet I'm an alcoholic too. Here with you. What's going on? What you told me is that. But see, despite my seemingly perfect upbringing, I never felt okay inside. And alcohol treated that, you told me. Oh. It's an internal illness, isn't it? It's inside out, isn't it? See, I'm an alcoholic because of the effect produced by alcohol. The alcohol fills that God-sized hole to such a degree that I chase it to the gates of insanity and death for about 3 years after it stopped working for me. For our newer friends, what I mean is that for the last 2 or 3 years of my drinking, I would drink into oblivion every single time. And my mind is still racing. I still want to kill myself. I still feel like a loser. It used to treat all that. What happened? What happened? It abandoned me. And I'm still doing it? Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Everyone used to always say, I have potential. Ali has potential. But let me tell you something, man. Within a few years, I started drinking at the age of 16. For the first couple of years, it was like a panacea to all my ills, just like Dr. Bob said. And after a few short years, this huge world of potential everyone said I had ended up being this small, in grungy motel rooms in southeast Toronto with bottles of vodka and all the ugly extracurricular activity that follows that kind of lifestyle. Wanting to die every minute of the day. Didn't know what to do with myself. Every part of this illness terrifies me. The fact that I have an allergy to the body, that when I drink, the drink takes me and the drink takes the drink, and I have no more power of control? What are you talking about? I thought it was me making a decision at 3 in the morning to have the 20th drink and miss my best friend's wedding party. I thought it was me. I didn't know. See, when I take a drink, all bets are off. My brain and my body conspire to kill me, and what it sounds like is go, 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 until some kind of death or destruction happens in my life. The bank account's done. She's thrown me out. My mom's heart's broken for the 1000th time. I have nothing. I'm on the streets. Yet I'm still saying that look how resilient I am. I'm not dead like you used to tell me I'm going to die, Ali. You don't know what you're talking about. To my loved ones, they say that. How sad that is. Because this illness kills everything, destroys everything that means anything in my life, takes away anything physical until I'm left with me, dying, and I'm watching the periphery as love is dying, self-respect is dying, peace is dying. And the physical death is the last death. I wish for it. I welcome it. This illness took me to many suicide attempts. Slashed wrist. Hose in the exhaust of a car in my mouth with the garage door down. Bottles of pills after bottles of pills after bottles of pills. And after every single suicide attempt, after every single psych ward visit, after every single charcoal drink they make you drink in those psych ward visits. My poor, beautiful laughter of identification, Alcoholics Anonymous. My poor mom or some loved one is around my bedside begging me, don't do this again, baby. Don't drink anymore. Okay, Ma, I promise you I'm not going to drink. Meaning it with every fiber of my being. Promising her 2-3 days later, I'm out there doing the same thing. This brain with a virus in it, ding, 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 ding. Hey, that was just a phase. Come on. You just need love in your life. That's it. You need her. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Meanwhile, I'm dying in this bitter morass of self-pity, this spiritual malady, quicksand all around me, Bill Wilson talks about. Loneliness and despair, terror, bewilderment. I'm just dying, man. I don't know. Life feels heavy to me. I'm confused by the way I perceive you guys to live your lives. How you get together with somebody in girlfriends and engagements and marriages. Everyone always laughs at me. How do you do that? How you find jobs and you don't get fired? They become more promotions and mortgages and cars? What? I was 12-stepped in 2006 by a loving member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I fell in love with you guys. I fell in love with the camaraderie, with the joyousness, with the kindness, with the fact that I found a group of people that drank like me. That's important, eh? Drank like me. Traditions are huge. Drank like me. I got to identify on the drinking level before I can really identify the thinking and feeling level and really stay there, you know? And after 6 months of just coming to a lot of your meetings and setting up your chairs and kitchen duty and coffee pot duty and shaking hands and just enjoy, you know, and sober, this illness woke up in me and said that I'm a loser. What are you doing here with these people? You're good for nothing. You have nothing. A drink would fix that. I went and drank. I was in and out for 7 years at that time. Dying. In the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, dying and angry. Dying, angry, and depressed. I didn't know why I couldn't stay sober. I'm doing a lot of stuff. Busy, a lot of meetings. Why can't I stay sober? Today I understand why though. Because I wanted something for nothing. I wanted to come to a 12-step program and dibble-dabble in the 12 steps and not work the 12 steps. Tell you how you should do the 12 steps. I wanted to go to a gym to get into physical shape and get inspired by the stories of the people who have beautiful physiques. And say, how did you do that? Fantastic. And go home. I did that in AA. Imagine how insane that would be. Now I'm sort of joking when I say it. Listen, man, I couldn't do anything other than that. I needed that to have a step one experience. I'm sort of, you know, but it's funny, isn't it? It's hilarious. Alcoholism. Because those 7 years were a source of shame for me, but they're no longer that, because what I needed to get humbled and surrendered. That's what I needed. And my last drunk one wasn't as bad as the 50 before that. I was renting a room in a men's recovery home in southeast Toronto. I went back in AA for 4 months. A lot of meetings, a lot of service at the group level, a lot of fellowship, dibble-dabbling in the steps. I snuck out, drank for a few hours, not even that bad. Snuck back in early in the morning, passed out and came to an incredible amount of pain. My mind was racing. You're a loser. You're good for nothing. Just kill yourself. Free your loved ones of you. A drink would fix that. A drink would fix that. My joints were throbbing. My hands were... My knees got bent. My mouth opened up. Something magical happened. Something miraculous happened. When I heard a prayer come out of me. God, whoever you are, whatever you are, I don't even really know if you are, but can you just please help me not be like this anymore? Because I can't do this anymore, God. I'm tired. Can you help me? That's a beautiful prayer. I'm tired. Can you help me? It was as if like this loving power just shined His light on me and picked me up one more time and brought me back to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Put a new teacher in my path, and this teacher opened the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous with me, and we started to go through it line by line, follow the black on the white. When it said to identify with something, I would identify it if I could. When it said to take an action, we would move forward until that action was taken. And as a result of these steps, I was set on fire, man. I'm still on fire. I was set on fire, baby. But why is it? I had to think about this and ponder this many times. Why is it? Many people try to take me through the big book. Why is it that time? I think for two reasons. One is the gift of desperation. Gift of desperation, which nobody can give someone else. We can scare it into somebody. We can't coerce it into somebody. We can't shame somebody. Oh, he must not want it bad enough. He's been around for 10 years. No, we can't do none of that. In fact, if you've been set on fire, I've been set on fire, so I have a responsibility to create a space of love and compassion for those brothers and sisters that keep going back and forth and in and out and in and out and out. Because the gift of desperation is nothing to do with me. One is the gift of desperation. The other one is the window of the grace of God. And when these two just come together, the gift of desperation and window of grace of God, I saw one of you sitting at that window. And you were armed with facts about yourself. And when you opened this big book with me, you knew that this is not an intellectual exercise, it's a spiritual endeavor. You pour your experience on the page of this big book, and the big book became alive. It came alive. And I started to see myself in those beautiful souls that I know they're here. I just know it, I feel them. Dr. Bob and Bill. I started to see myself in them. That maybe I'm an alcoholic, just like them. Just like my brother Ronnie. So maybe if this program can work for me, for them, maybe it can work for me too. So I was set on fire. And as a result of these steps, a whole new world comes into view. That father that I alluded to, that I told you guys used to beat us, addict, right? I made amends to him and we fell in love. I made amends to him. Because see, I start to see facts about him that I knew all along, but I start to see not just intellectually. When I use the word see, when I use the word hear, anything that I use in that context is with my heart. I start to see that he was kicked out as a 12-year-old when he was a kid. I start to see that he was molested as a kid. I start to see that the poor guy became a well-to-do self-made man in the streets of Tehran and became a well-to-do man and at the height of his career, acknowledgement, managing 400 or 500 people. I start to see how he picked us up and brought us all the way across the ocean to a new land where he didn't have to. He didn't have to. He could have moved to another city. He could have kept his addiction fed. He could have kept the acknowledgement, accolades, and money coming in. All the way across the ocean to a new land where he doesn't speak a word of English. Looks different than everybody else. And coming from a height of his career, managing 400 or 500 people, to mopping a pizza joint floor at night because he was scared he was going to spend all his money. He didn't know where he was going to get a job. And later on, I found out crying those nights. I started to see what love looks like. Because love is an action word. You taught me that. Then I got to look at me. What have I done? In the last my act of alcoholism, the hitting, the violence, the terror, the stealing, the blaming, the swearing in their lives that I caused. For years, I was demanding from him something that he didn't have to give to me. Do you know why? Because it was never given to him to give to me. That's why. He gave me what he had, so I became free. A few years back, I was at their house. I try to visit them as often as I can. And he was telling me, son, he's like, I'm starting to lose my memory. He's starting to scare me, you know. But I want to tell you something. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for not judging me. Because every time you're around, I feel a light, he says. I feel a light. I see something in you. I'm proud of you. Can you talk to me about this recovery thing you're telling me? These are the ripple effects of the love story. I talk to him. He's still doing what he does. But the conversation has changed between me and him. He's no longer my agenda to keep sober, just so I don't have to worry about him and my mom. He's no longer my agenda to change who he is. He's become my assignment that God put in my path for me to become better, for me to grow as a human being, for me to be a better servant. And he's transformed, sure he has. But not because I forced him to, because I've transformed. What does another spiritual teacher say? Change the way you look at things and the things you look at will change. Simple as that. Simple as that. Right? That loss of memory turned out to be Alzheimer's. He's forgetting everybody. He just knows my mom and me. My sister barely. My wife after some hours, remember? One time my mom calls me a few months back, maybe last year, and this keeps happening, but the first time that it happened, maybe last year, this poor old man, he's in an episode, I don't know, he's hallucinating, he's scared, he drank my mom's juice to go number 2 because he's constipated. Instead of a little, he drank the whole bottle. And the poor guy, his body's too old and it's hurting him too much. So he couldn't get up in time to go to the bathroom, so everything is soiled, right? My mom calls me, he's like, I don't know what to do. So I get on my knees, I pray, and I go. I go to the Home Depot, get everything, all the cleaning supplies and everything, and I go over there, and he's lying, and he sees me and he smiles. He was scared, I could tell. I took him in the shower. He was scared, he didn't want to go in, so I took off my clothes, and I went in the shower with him. I started to clean him. And he kept on thanking me. I love you, son. You grace me, son. Thank you for it. He's in Persian, but I'm translating. And I'm just like telling him I love him, and I just keep thanking God the whole time. Thank you, God, for allowing me to be of service. And I just have this love inside of me that I cannot describe to you. It just... juicy life, meaning and purpose in life. That's where it's at. That's a priceless stuff. Purpose in life, man. You know? Purpose in life. With every single amends that I made, there's ripple effects of it, right? I feel like I can stand a little bit taller. I feel like I have more peace in my soul. I want to share this with you. Let's go back a little bit. I'm at 3 months sober and I'm starting to sponsor people. I started to sponsor early on in sobriety, by the way, you know? Take people through the big book and the steps, right? And I was scared. I didn't want to do it. And I told my sponsor at the time and my elders that, listen, nobody wants somebody with 3 months. Believe me, I don't. And what I was told is, Ali, that's interesting you're thinking. Because if Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson, they had some rule written in stone that there is a must. There's a must of 1 year or 2 years before you start passing this message on in this way, we would all be dead. There'll be no AA. We'll all be drunk. So it's none of your business. It's none of your business when, how, to whom you pass this message on, the 12 steps. Right? Sponsor in that way, right? You pray, you make yourself available. So that's what I was doing. I'll pray in the mornings, God, if you see fit, can you put a sponsor in my path? Because I don't want to drink and die, God. And I would go to these meetings and share, you know, people that knew me in and out for 7 years, they saw such transformations in me. They would come after a meeting and talk to me, and I ended up in a men's shelter visiting this time. I set up my sponsor told me, I set up an AA. I had no idea what I was doing. I opened the big book, I'd read 3 pages, scared, as always. And these men would share from the chaos in their lives and from the terror in their lives and the depressions and the suicide attempts. And I would share that, man, I relate to you. That was me 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I haven't had a drink. I'm happy a lot of times, you know? And they start to believe me. Maybe that's how God used me. I'm not sure. Because you know sometimes, like, shorter time in sobriety is more tangible, like in somebody's head, you know what I mean? Maybe that's how God used me. Can you help us do whatever it is you did? Of course I can. I would take them through the steps like I was probably making a lot of mistakes, you know? And I don't know if any of those men are sober, those gifts from God. But you know who's sober? You're looking at him. I haven't had a drink. That's sober. Right? That's sober. Because that's how the language of love started. That's how the language of love started. From one person's desire, one broken soul's desire to stay sober himself. There's a humility that needs to be brought to the table. I need to know that's what I'm doing. That I'm doing God's work and He does the rest. You know? And fast forward, I'm 3 years in, I'm sponsoring a lot of men, speaking here and there, and this before I took the pills, right? I mean, speaking here and there, and coming to these rooms and lying to you guys. Yeah, I do that a lot. But I don't know that I'm doing that. Because it's cunning, baffling, and powerful. I don't see it. I don't see it coming. I think every time I'm going to see it coming, I just don't. If I did, I wouldn't need my sponsor. I wouldn't need you guys. I would graduate. Thank you very much. Bye. Step 12. Bye-bye. I would come to these rooms and lie to you guys that the relationship with God is the most important relationship in my life. And a beautiful long-timer didn't embarrass me. He had a relationship with me. So because he had a relationship, there was a listening for him. He pulled me aside and he said, Ali, that's interesting. Because I hear you say that a lot. Let me ask you to consider something. What other relationship is important in your life? I said, my wife, Afsi. He said, okay, I want you to consider, if you give Afsi the same amount of time on a daily basis that you give God, Afsi would divorce you. Imagine if all you did with Afsi is, good morning, honey, good night, honey. What kind of relationship is that? Keep me sober, God. Thank you for keeping me sober, God. Twice. No, listen. Everything is unjust, okay? So if you're doing that and it's working for you, God bless you. All I'm saying is that it's been my experience and the experience of my elders that this broad and roomy path, it just gets narrower and narrower and narrower every 24-hour humble step that I try to take in this path. One of the ways is I can no longer get away with not doing for a long period of time with what the big book suggests. Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. And from that day to this, a prayer life organically, trial and error, man, making a lot of mistakes, has just grown around me, a meditative life. I wake up early in the morning and I pray and I meditate and I spend time with this power. I worship this power. Spiritual readings, all kinds of stuff. Throughout the day, I'm always praying. God, can you please help me? I'm a little bit scared, God. Can you come into this meeting with me? I don't know what to do, God. Can you remove this self-centeredness from me? Show me what would you have me do, God? Who would you have me be, God? And words don't do justice when I try to describe to you the feeling of joy and peace and serenity and the quiet that I experience most times, not always, most times. You know, words don't do justice. Words don't do justice. And the last few years, all I've done to the best of my ability is trust God, clean house, help others. That's all I've done. Trust God, clean house. What Dr. Bob wrote on his prescription pad, right? Someone just gave me another copy this weekend. Trust God, clean house, help others. What do you guys keep telling me? The steps. Trust God, clean house, help others. I've been stepping back and watching in awe of this power do for me what I cannot do for myself. The fact that I'm sober, the fact that I'm happy a lot of times. I don't want to kill myself most times. I don't want to kill you. That's good. Everybody wants on that one. You know? Most times. I have peace in my life. The fact that Afsi and we just celebrated 12 years of marriage on May the 16th. The past, right? A loving marriage. Doing the best we can. Making mistakes, but we love each other, man. What we realize is that for this relationship to work, you know how the big book says the grouch and the brainstorm are the dubious luxury of normal men, normal people, right? Well, me and Afsi realize normal human romantic love is the dubious luxury of normal couples, not for us. Afsi and I have to have a continuous spiritual experience together. What that means is that God better be in the middle of this thing. God better be everything, or this marriage becomes nothing. And you know who makes it nothing? I make it nothing. And you know who I blame? Her. That's my MO. I'm sorry. This is the way I built this way, but I am. Loving marriage. She's a soldier guy. I love her so much. Gifts of sobriety. The fact, 15 years ago, I think it was my last suicide attempt. 15 years ago. I didn't know what to do with this life that God had given me. I wanted to throw this away. And close to a little over 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, God gave us a baby boy. His name is Darius. Sometimes I think God has a sense of humor. I'm telling you, man. Sometimes I think God's like, you selfish prick. Here you go. You take care of my other kid, and you get out of yourself for a little bit. How about you don't sleep for 2 years? You like that? You want to complain? Don't sleep for 2 years. And he's just such a gentle soul, you know what I mean? He's a good guy. Darius is a good boy. Not just because he's my son, he's a good guy. He's kind to people. And he's gentle, and we pray together, and I'm a good dad. And we jog together, I teach him martial arts, and I love you, baby, you're handsome, you're smart, you can be anything you want, baby. Don't you worry about it. I got your back. I got your back. Daddy's got your back. What a manifestation of source he is, you know. About 4 years ago, my wife got in her heart, I think she was 49 at that time, that she wants to have another baby. We went in vitro, we went to the doctor, okay? This guy was an honest guy, this doctor. He said, listen, with your body parts, what's going on with your bodies, even with the medical technology and medical help we're going to give you, you guys have a less than like a 1 or 2% chance of a healthy pregnancy. I suggest you don't waste your money. I'll never forget my wife. We're sitting down in the doctor's office. She held my hands and tears started to just roll down her cheeks. And she looked at this doctor and she said, Doctor, you do whatever you got to do. And we're going to do what we're going to do. Because you do not know the God that we know, do you, doctor? My son Maximus is 20 months old. Maximus is 20 months old. You cannot tell me there isn't a God. You cannot tell me there isn't a God, man. You cannot tell me there isn't a God. You know? God is good. God is love. God is powerful, man. God is everything and everywhere in this moment with gratitude. And we get to be present to Him, her, it. Right? We get to be present. But I want to share something with you. If every talk in Alcoholics Anonymous was focused on the gifts of sobriety, every share in the 5-minute share in the floors of these meetings, if all we shared about was how good my life got because I got sober in Alcoholics Anonymous, God is good, please forgive me. That would make this God and this program really cheap and shallow and small. Shallow and small. Because that would mean God is good only because my ego is getting what it wants at the same time. That means this program is a design for Ali getting what he wants, but it is not. It is a design for living when life gets tough. Because life gets tough sometimes, man. I heard someone say it, so I'm going to steal it. Life gets lifey. Right? Throws curveballs and boulders at me and Ashley the last few years of sobriety too. It hasn't been all roses. Right? Cancers and deaths in the family and mourning loved ones. Depressions followed me from childhood to adulthood into recovery, sponsoring people depressed, feeling like a fraud. I had to get outside help for it too, like it transformed in me. But man, it kicked my butt for years, on and off. Can't find a job to help support a family. feeling like a fraud. You're not a real dad. You're a loser. How can you not support your family? Ashley and I got separated one time. We almost got divorced. But you know the beautiful thing about the valleys in life? About the valleys in life? The darkness and the shipwrecks in life. You know what the beautiful thing is? That's where the treasures are found. In the shipwrecks of life. Because every single valley has brought me back to the table with God for a deeper level of experience with Him. Every single valley has made me a kinder human being, a little bit more humble, a little bit better today than I was yesterday. But that's what we strive for, but just a little bit better today than we were yesterday. That's a good goal for me to have in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know? That's a good goal for me to have. And God has shown me every single time, through every single valley, I got you. I got you. All I want you to do is to seek me in order to serve me and my kids. I got you. I got you. I remember one time I was working for a man I used to sponsor, digging ditches. He had a fencing company, like, you know, the posts are like wooden fences around the backyards of homes. So wooden posts, you have to dig the ditch. It's like something called clam shovels, 3 or 4 feet, so the post can go in, right? It was a hot summer, and I was laboring, just dying. And I remember it was a Friday towards the end of a hot summer, a hard week. I had tears in my eyes. What the hell is this, God? What kind of deal is this I made with you? I'm trying to do your work. I want to stop fighting with Ashley over the bills. I'm sick of this, God. And then I remembered how selfish that is, because you've trained me. I just went inside internally and I prayed, God, can you remove this selfishness from me? Show me who would you have me be? What would you have me do? Within 30 seconds of that prayer, I hear a man who's 60 years old, who was working as a laborer by my side the entire summer, who had lost his deck business. He was a wealthy man, deck business, to a messy divorce from what he told me. 30 seconds after that prayer, Ali, can I speak with you for a second? You talk about the fact that you don't drink anymore. Can you tell me how you do that? Because I can't stop you. Because I've been wanting to kill myself the last 2 weeks and I can't stop drinking. How do you do that? I never told them that I was an Alcoholics Anonymous. I said I don't drink. I told him about you guys without telling him about you guys. He saw, people see. My mouth opened up. And I started to tell him how bad it was in suicide attempts. I couldn't stay sober for 2 years at the end. And I started to talk about you guys. The loving God that you kept me in touch with, introduced me to. The loving program of Alcoholics Anonymous. That man is sober today. I didn't sponsor him, but that man is sober today. And you know what happened in that minute? In that instant, you know what happened when I started to talk about you guys? It was as if like I had a shift in outlook in life. All of a sudden, everything that I thought I had to do, I start to see that I get to do. Right? I get to come to work. I get to be a laborer. I get to hustle. I get to try to make a living. I get to look for another job. The entire summer I floated the rest of that summer. You know? That's what God has done for me. Time after time after time. I got you. I got you. You just keep seeking me. And when I forget, you know who reminds me? People like my friend Chip remind me with their stories. And Angie reminds me with their stories. And Ronald reminds me with their stories. And you guys remind me with your stories. Just seek Him. Just seek Him. He doesn't make hard terms. He doesn't make hard terms. You know? And I'm so grateful for my sponsor boys, for all the elders that are around me, that I keep close to me, because no matter what I go to them with a perceived calamity in my life, at times, right? They listen kindly, and they share their experience with that and how they apply spiritual principles to it, and they point me to a direction. They point me to an inventory, to a newcomer, to a meeting, to a prayer, to a meditation, to an action, program of action that's going to put my hand right into God's hands one more time. Because they know that I'm beyond human help. They know that. I better have a loving God in my life, and I better seek Him. They know that. See, this program has had to become, has had to jump off the pages and start to become a part of the fabric, the fiber of the fabric of every single cell in my body. Because I don't suffer from a drinking problem. I suffer from a drinking solution. There's a universal difference on that one. I don't suffer from a drinking problem. I suffer from alcoholism. It is a soul sickness. It is a spiritual malady in which on my own power I just want to crawl out of my own skin. In recovery, if I take my foot off the gas pedal too long, on my own power, I'm always afraid of what you think about me. There's always some destination to get to, something to achieve, some acknowledgement to get. And even when I reach there, it's not enough. On my own power, this cunning, baffling illness lulls me into the delusion that somehow I'm separate from you guys, from God's other kids. I'm afraid of you. And this delusion that I'm separate from God's other kids leads me to the biggest delusion of all. That I'm separate from this power. That God is some entity up there, maybe not. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But that's not the case for me. He's closer to me than breath. And I'm aware and I'm awake to His love with gratitude in this moment. All that there is God in the now. May you find Him now. There was a hint to us now. In the now. If you're new, if you're newly back, I'll end with this. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to humbly ask you to set aside everything that you think you know. If you're new, if you're newly back here, if you're in pain today, set aside everything that you think you know. Get a sponsor. Join a home group. Dive in these steps. Recommit to these steps. And come and join us in the love story of Alcoholics Anonymous. It is not a not drinking program. That's just the surface of it. It's a love story, man. Love story of Alcoholics Anonymous by those two beautiful souls that God used. And the 90th year we're here. We're in the life story of Alcoholics Anonymous. I want to dedicate this poem, this Rumi poem to you, and I'll sit down. It's called Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight, the darkness, the dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. God bless you. I love you. Thank you.